So today we're talking about a stage 4 cancer patient who pretty much just wanted some creator fees from his meme coin to pay for his cancer treatment. And what happened next kind of shows both the cruelest side of cybercrime that exists and kind of the most beautiful response from the internet when good people decide to actually fight back. I think it also shows the power that exists in the collective.
It was smaller than a tennis ball, basically. The lump started growing on my back, it started becoming bigger and bigger, and it started already pressing on some of my nerves inside my spine. So I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And because in Latvia it was minus 20 degrees, I was also extra sensitive. It has stopped growing for the first time. It doesn't I can't explain to you guys the feeling that it has been giving me during the nights. Imagine the 24th December, I fly to my country. I met my family, everything was fine. I was playing with my mom's dog, with my brother, stuff like that. And 3 days later, I was tied to bed for how much it is? Almost 10 months.
And this is a departure from the typical stuff that I tend to talk about on this channel, but I do think that it's important, the good people that are actually out there. Now, Rastalin TV, his cancer token on Pump Fund generates creator fees that basically fund his treatment after his family went bankrupt in December of 2024 from his medical costs. And his brother, Javato, sorry if I mispronounced your name, dude, but they really desperately needed every dollar they could possibly get their hands on for survival. And on September 20th of 2025, while Rastalin TV was actually broadcasting live, an unknown individual ended up contacting him with what seemed like a legitimate opportunity. And they offered him financial compensation to basically play a Steam demo of a game called Block Blasters. And don't go actually looking for this game. It's not what you actually think. On the outside, it looks like a free-to-play game that's listed on Steam under app ID 3872350. For a dying man that's struggling to try and pay for cancer treatment, any income really looked kind of like hope. And the attackers had done their homework in this case. They had reached out to him, and they knew about his financial desperation. They had studied his medical condition, they had tracked his streaming schedule, and they crafted their offer specifically to exploit his specific dire circumstances, knowing exactly how desperate he actually was for any source of income. This was absolutely a targeted psychological warfare op or social engineering, whatever you want to call it. And it had really, really profound and devastating results. He ended up downloading the executable directly from Steam during his live broadcast, and he ran it immediately because he trusted Valve's platform. And this is a great lesson for anyone out there who actually does this. He had absolutely no reason at the end of the day to suspect any kind of malware whatsoever from Steam's supposedly curated marketplace that exists, right? I mean, I think we all feel that way. And the game appeared legitimate. It was listed on the official platform that literally millions of users trust every day for things like safe downloads. And the malware basically activated instantly as soon as he ran it. Block Blasters was actually a crypto drainer that was specifically engineered to target browser-based wallets like Phantom and Solflare. And the malicious code ended up scanning his installed browser extensions, it identified crypto wallet software, and it extracted private keys from his local storage. And within minutes, approximately $32,000 in his creator fees for his cancer meme coin vanished from his wallet.
No, 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 no. No. No.
The crypto funds moved immediately through predictable laundering patterns that we usually see. The drainer basically transferred everything to an OKX linked wallet and basically liquidated the cryptocurrency virtually instantly. The entire thing was live streamed. It was footage that was captured that showed the kind of devastating moment when this actually happened, with him literally crying out, "I'm broke now." As a friend, I think it was a friend, attempted to try to console him.
That happened in the crypto. For you, I understand this can be very difficult because that money normally can help you for a lot of things in your life. But it's not the end, okay?
No.
You're such a brave person.
I'm broken now.
No.
I'm sorry, guys.
And this is like a dying man watching, like not an old dying man either, like a young man who's dying, literally watching his medical funds stolen in real time, while broadcasting to an audience that included his own brother, who he had already sacrificed everything. His brother had already sacrificed everything to try to keep him alive. And the thieves had specifically chosen basically to torture this dying man in order to extract his cancer treatment money, which it really shows the nature of the beast that we're dealing with out there. The psychological impact on him was absolutely immediate, and it was crushing. The 32,000 represented his life. It was literally like seeing your life be taken from you. For that organization is probably pocket change, right? For this organized cybercrime op, they're basically parasites who had used his hope against him and stolen the funds that he needed to live. And they elected to inflict this maximum level of human suffering, but then something really extraordinary began to happen. The internet started to become self-aware, so to speak. Word spread through the crypto community as a whole, kind of faster than any government response would have. DeFi Downson, who had known Rastel TV for years, immediately began trying to coordinate support efforts. And the community understood pretty much immediately what had actually happened and kind of started mobilizing resources without actually waiting for, institutional help, because they knew it wasn't coming, or any kind of like bureaucratic approval. Which, if me, and you gotta watch my content regularly, that part of the story alone is pretty much, to me, really what makes this whole story worth telling is people having self-sufficiency in their own communities. It's absolutely amazing. ZSS Becker, or Alex Becker, stepped up with the first, as far as I know, the first really massive gesture when he donated $32,500 to actually replace the stolen funds. He basically covered the entire loss and then some for whatever extra treatment costs actually existed. And Easy Eats Bodega contributed another $10,000 on top of that, while Sol Jakey and other crypto personalities basically began spreading the word and organizing additional support across all of their networks that they had. Wrestling TV successfully executed a community takeover to redirect future creator rewards to secure devices and wallets that he had. So his new wallet address is here. It'll also be listed in the pinned comment below. But basically, the community immediately began buying cancer tokens on top of everything else. And this was specifically to generate more creator fees for his actual treatment, pushing the market cap to 632,000 through pure solidarity. And this is a really cool story because it's not like a rug pull. We see so many of those. It's so gross. It's like the disgusting hoe hawk to a girl, rug pulling people, then acting like a victim later on. This is one where like people actually contribute willingly, and it's kind of a beautiful story, right? And I know that kind of sounds lame, but it really kind of is, in my opinion. And if any of you are kind of watching this who were born in the 80s, like this kind of thing might kind of sound familiar to you, right? For those of you who are younger than that, believe it or not, like the internet actually used to be a fairly community-driven place, much more than it is now, where it's predominantly echo chambers of anger and whatnot. Nowadays, basically, we see a lot of like sniping out there in terms of like people taking shots at each other on social media, and I'm absolutely one that's guilty of this 100%. But like back in the day, in my opinion, there was a lot more togetherness, even with the internet being as decentralized as it is, with people all around the world. I think that one of the best ways I've ever heard this kind of nostalgic internet actually described was in Edward Snowden's book. And when I hear stories like this, really, it kind of immediately brings me back to those early days of the internet where not every single thing was monetized. Like you can't even watch a review anymore. Like the review for the product will have ads in it. It's just like, it's absolutely insane. Anyways, while the crypto community was replacing his stolen funds, the real hunters were gearing up, right? They were just getting started. And when I say hunters, I don't mean the loser thieves who actually researched him and ended up robbing him. I mean like the people that are out there that, in my opinion, are worth their weight in gold, are some of the best ones that actually exist. That's when I say hunters, that's what I mean. VX Underground, who is basically the cybersecurity collective that maintains the internet's largest malware collection, immediately began reverse engineering the attack. And this was, in fact, who I originally had heard this story from. And within hours, over 50 malware researchers, OSINT specialists, and cybersecurity professionals had actually mobilized for a coordinated, decentralized investigation. How badass is that, right? Like, essentially, the thieves had just really kicked the wrong hornet's nest. And these researchers worked completely independently of corporations or governments. They hunt predators like this on kind of a regular basis because they refuse to watch innocent people get destroyed. Do you see why I said that there's some of the best people out there, right? I mean, I think that was a fair description. Anyone actually willing to stand up for like the innocent or the people that are defenseless, in my opinion, are the ones that we should be trying to elevate, because those are the people that make us as a human species just better quality altogether. Anyways, the actual technical analysis really revealed kind of the crude but effective nature of the actual attack. Block blasters used Python and bat files, likely generated through something like ChatGPT or a generic train as a service platform. These losers had basically hired a developer on Telegram to create the game's facade, right? Showing how kind of commercialized and accessible really targeted malware distribution has become. And for all of you out there sending me PDFs and sending me links and email, this is why I don't click any of that crap. This is why everything's containerized. Anyways, side issue. The malware researchers, though, credit to them, like quickly identified specific file signatures. The bot component, for example, had a certain hash, and the game 2 executable, another specific hash. And they also discovered a fake virus total user named Zombie Bunny who had actually attempted to try to legitimize the malware through false negative reports that they had actually submitted. The OSINT specialists went to work tracking these thieves across multiple platforms, and they analyzed the attack infrastructure through Steam accounts, Telegram channels, and cryptocurrency wallet addresses. And basically, the thieves had made more than a few critical operational security mistakes that basically allowed researchers to track their footprints back to their real-world identities. And within the span of like a couple hours of the actual attack, the investigators had actually identified the criminals. They had traced them back to Telegram and Steam identities, to a few individuals that were in Argentina, with one allegedly in the United States on a visa. And the malware analysis team basically extracted all the victim data from the drainer infrastructure. They identified every person who had been targeted by the same malware campaign, and they prepared notifications for other potential victims and flagged all the malware samples across security platforms. Their goal was basically in preventing future attacks while also gathering evidence about past ones. Now, this brings us to Steam's response, which demonstrated just the absolute worthlessness of institutional security promises to a large degree, and the ability for trust to be exploited fairly easily with things like that. And despite receiving over 100 user complaints about this malicious game, Valve's removal process moved at like a snail's pace, or even worse, a bureaucratic speed, while real users actually suffered real financial damage continually. And the game remained available for download while independent researchers did the actual work of trying to protect users from these thieves. And the volunteer research army basically achieved results that no corporate security team or government agency could really match in terms of speed and agility. And they shared malware signatures across the entirety of the security community. They documented the attack. They showed the patterns for future prevention. And they kind of created actionable intelligence that other researchers could really use immediately. And this kind of voluntary collaboration between skilled individuals really proved more effective than any kind of institutionalized cybersecurity response that would have charged a ridiculous amount for, and been half as effective. And that's because their heart was in it, really. And all of this kind of ended up really leading researchers to discover similar malware threats in Steam, specifically the Steam Workshop, for games like City Skylines, revealing abuse of Valve's platform for things like malware distribution. And the Workshop system allows what's user-generated content with even less oversight than the main game catalog, which really creates this kind of massive attack surface for thieves, criminals, whatever. And throughout the years, I've heard a ton of arguments against piracy, with the vast majority of those arguments being that when you buy a game, as opposed to download a copy of it. I don't call it stealing, and there's a whole nother thing. Not that I pirate anything. I don't pirate anything. I would not pirate anything. Because, yeah, let's. Anyways, the biggest argument that I tend to hear in regards to piracy is malware. Oh, they put malware in pirated software, and it's like not a lie. It's true. That does happen. But to me, like, that was one of the largest driving principles for people to actually purchase games. With that going, anyways, in any case, back to Rastalin TV. He basically recovered from the immediate technical damage and emotional damage, obviously catastrophic. And he secured his system properly and planned to continue his streaming, which is awesome. That's awesome that he got back up on that bike. His GoFundMe actually remains active for those who prefer those kind of traditional donation methods. And the combination of the kind of rapid response from the crypto community and that kind of conventional fundraising that we also see in platforms now kind of really showed how decentralized and centralized systems can, in a way, kind of complement each other, which is very cool. Like it's yet another factor that kind of makes the story a great story, in my opinion. And the scumbags that actually thought that they could torture this cancer patient and disappear anonymously backfired. So, like, all in all, I would say like the real lesson really kind of transcends cryptocurrency and cybersecurity for that matter. Like, at the core, we really have to remember that the humanity that exists, that much of the time is still behind that keyboard. There's still a human behind there, right? When we see these institutions fail repeatedly to protect people, which is absolutely the norm nowadays, it's really amazing to see voluntary communities of talented people can still succeed through rapid coordination, anger, kind of specialized expertise. Steam security has proven itself to be absolutely worthless. Law enforcement, I would argue, is on par with Steam security. They're going to be absolutely worthless and useless. Hopefully I'm wrong about that. They actually, because I don't think it's right that anyone gets robbed, especially someone in that position. Law enforcement probably won't do anything about it, mainly because they have sheeple to write speeding tickets to and soft extort. It's a lot easier than tracking people down and actually solving real crimes. But it was cool to see community action provided actual help to the victim and actual consequences for the attackers through this kind of exposure and investigation and innovation of everyone coming together. A dying man basically got robbed by parasites who specifically targeted his cancer treatment money, and within hours, the internet's most skilled researchers had pretty much hunted down these douchebags who had stolen these funds, and in doing that, they protected other potential victims. And these attackers kind of chose their victim thinking that this dude was going to be weak and desperate and that makes him an easy target. And while they were right about that, they discovered that instead of targeting someone the community cares about, that actually makes you a really big target for the people that are far more dangerous than they were. Or any government agency was, for that matter. I would argue more capable too, because they actually got the job done in like a day. All right. So in any case, thanks for watching to the end, guys. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next video.